Welcome to Tier 1 Jank. I am Marcus, and today we're going to be taking a look at mono black vampires in M20 Standard. Let's go ahead and take a look at the list here. To start off the deck, we have 2 copies of Knight of the Ebon Legion. It is a 1-drop, 1-2. You can pay 2 and a black to give it +3/+3 and Death Touch until end of turn. And it also says at the beginning of your end step, if a player has lost 4 or more life this turn, you can put a +1/+1 counter on it. Now, I do think this could be a 4 of. I've only got 2 copies so far on Arena, so we're also putting in 2 copies of Vicious Conquistador, but I might actually take these out and put in 2 more copies of the Knight of the Ebon Legion. We also have 4 copies of Spark Harvest. We have a lot of low-costing small creatures in here that might not be able to trade up in combat, but we will be able to use Spark Harvest to sacrifice them and destroy a creature or planeswalker very cheaply. Later in the game, we might want to just pay the extra mana and cast this for 5, but this is a good way early in the game to get rid of problem creatures and planeswalkers. Next up, we have the Conquistadors I mentioned. We have 2 copies of Aid the Fallen to get back some of our creatures and planeswalkers back out of the graveyard. We have 4 copies of Dusk Legion Zealot. This is a 2-drop that's going to enter the battlefield and draw you a card. It's a 1/1. 2 copies of Arterial Flow. Now, this was not originally in the deck, but I decided I wanted to put it in. It's a 2 black and a colorless sorcery. It says each opponent discards 2 cards. And now that's helpful if they can give themselves hexproof. It's going to get around that. And it says if you control a vampire, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So we're getting rid of 2 cards in their hand, and most likely draining 2 from them as well can come in quite handy. 2 copies of Bloodthirsty Aerialist. This is one of the new cards in M20. It is 2 black and a colorless, flying, 2/3, and whenever you gain life, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. Next up, we have 3 copies of Sky March Bloodletter. It's a 3-drop, 2/2 flying, and when it enters the battlefield, it'll drain your opponent for life. Now, this is the only planeswalker we have in the deck. It's the new Sorin, 2 colorless and a black. He comes in with 4 loyalty counters. You can +1 to have a target creature you control gain Death Touch and Lifelink until end of turn. If it's a vampire, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. All of our creatures are vampires, so they'll all get that +1/+1 counter. You can also +1 to sacrifice a vampire, and when you do, he's going to deal 3 damage to any target, and you gain 3 life. That can come in quite handy. But his -3 reads, you may put a vampire creature card from your hand onto the battlefield, so we're going to be able to cheat in some higher costing creatures with Sorin, possibly. One of those is the Thirsting Bloodlord that we have 2 copies of. It's the Vampire Lord. It's a 2 colorless, 2 black, 3/3, and all your other vampires get +1/+1. We also have 3 copies of Vraska's Contempt for the exile effect mostly, but also more creature and planeswalker removal, and we're going to gain a little bit of life off of it. 2 copies of Champion of Dusk. This is another one of the higher costing vampires we might be able to cheat in. It's 2 black and 3 colorless, 4/4, and when it enters the battlefield, you draw X cards and lose X life, where X is the number of vampires you control. And then the last vampire in the list is Vampire Sovereigns. It's a 5-drop, 3/4 flyer, and when it enters the battlefield, it's going to drain your opponent 3. As far as the land base, we have 2 copies of Memorial to Folly to get a little bit more graveyard action going on, 19 Swamps, and 2 copies of Blast Zone. So that is the deck. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments. If you enjoyed the material, hit the like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications. I think today we're going to go ahead and try this one in a constructed event, so let's go ahead and jump into that. We'll pay the 500 gold, which we'll probably be getting back in the way of our quest during the event, so not worried about that. Let's go ahead and pick our deck and jump in. Alright, we got our first match. I Have Chicken as our opponent. I think this is okay to start with. We got Dusk Legion Zealot, Sorin on 3, we got a Vraska's Contempt, Spark Harvest if we need it. I'll drop a swamp and pass. Got a Godless Shrine from our opponent. We'll go ahead and play our Zealot. Draw us a card. Let's go ahead and make our cat black. We drew a Vampire of the Dire Moon. Ooh, I don't know if I mentioned that one in the tech. It's a 1-drop, 1/1 Death Touch lifelink. I really like this card. Let's see. I think we're going to go ahead and try to get Soren out. It might get countered. We do have the Aid the Fallen. It did not get countered, however. I mean, we could sneak this in, but that would be not really to our benefit right now. I think we'll just put a +1/+1 counter on this thing and swing in. Also gained lifelink, so we're up to 21. Our opponent's down to 18. Looks like they're on Esper colors. They might be targeting Soren with something now. I saw him light up there. Oath of Kaya. They're gonna kill our Zealot. Yep. Oh no, they hit Soren for 3. Wow. Okay. Well, let's play our land. We're gonna go ahead and put another counter on the Zealot here. We'll swing in and get our Dire Moon Vampire down. I wonder why they hit Soren. If they have another 3 damage they can do this turn, or what the point behind that was. I would have expected them to take out the Zealot and maybe try to remove Soren and with a cleaner answer, but maybe they just don't have it right now. Let's see what they do have. Drowned Catacomb and Akaya's Wrath. They're gonna get rid of both our creatures here. Alright, so looks like we're gonna be forced to use our Aid the Fallen for not as much value as we'd like, but I'm gonna go ahead and get the Zealot back to try to draw us another card. We'll use that. Drew a Swamp, not really what we need here. We'll just go ahead and put the counter on the Zealot, even though it can't attack this turn. Hey Dragon Lord, how you doing? Just showing off mono black vamps today. Got a Basilica Bellhaunt. We gotta discard a card. We'll lose one of these swamps. Drop another swamp. Really not what we need is to draw more land here, but I think we're gonna go ahead and get rid of this Bellhaunt. Put another counter on the Zealot and swing in. How's your grind going on ranked, Dragon Lord? Yeah, the flood is happening right now. This is the first game we've gotten into. We're in a constructed event right now. Our opponent hasn't really done too much. Okay, now we're seeing a Teferi. If they bounce this back to my hand, I'm going to draw another card. I think I'm okay with that. No, they're going to bounce their go with the Kaya. That makes sense. They weren't able to play it, though. Since we do have so much mana, we can Spark Harvest Teferi. But I think I'd rather just attack in to kill him. And we'll hang on to our removal. I guess I probably should have done this first. That was a mistake. But I'm actually going to grab this Vampire out of the graveyard, play that, and then put a counter on it. We'll split our resources here a little bit. Sitting at Diamond Tier 2, yeah, I think that's where I'm at right now. I did get up into Tier 1, but then I got knocked back a little bit. It's funny, getting up to Diamond was fairly easy this time. I had a pretty smooth way there, and then once I got into the Diamond ranks, it's been a little bit rocky back and forth. I haven't tried any Yarick decks yet. I've been messing around a little bit with Elementals, but I haven't done the, what is that, Sultai? I haven't done Sultai yet. Okay, so, let's see. I think we're going to be forced to just kill this thing. They did take out our other vampire with this Enter the God Eternals. We'll go ahead and put another counter on this vampire. And attacking. One win from Mythic a couple times. Yeah, I think I got like halfway up. I was like 3 wins away, and then I got knocked back a bit. I'm just going to hang on to this in case we have to discard another card. Looks like he hasn't found a clean answer for Soren yet. He's sitting here at 7. Oh, if the Kaya comes back down, I'll most likely take out our Dire Moon Vampire. He does. Wow, more land. This is getting ridiculous. Well, plus just to plus. I really wish we had a vampire in our hand to use that -3 on, even though we wouldn't need to right now. We've just drawn a crazy amount of lands. Okay, well there's something. It might get well, say it might get countered. I don't really know how many counters the Esper decks are running right now. Usually, if anything, it's Dovin's Veto. Okay, looks like we do have an Absorb here. So not all of the Esper decks are running it right now. There's so many little Teferis running around that counters become a liability. Looks like our opponent has plenty of land as well. I'm not sure what these last 2 cards are in their hand, but we did draw a creature this turn, so that's something. They did not have a counter for that one. It didn't even hold priority for him. Playing 3 Agent of Treachery, and this morning we got to have Yarrick down, play 1, play Blood for Bones, reanimate. Oh, so you're on that path, okay. What'd he do? Moment of Craving, nice. Alright, so we'll just do this again. Yeah, that seems like a lot of work to get to all that. Like, what is the Agent of Treachery cost? Like 7 or 9? Okay, our opponent gets our other copy of Soren out of our hand with the Thought Erasure. We draw another Bloodletter. It's a body, I'll take it. Now we put a counter on it and pass the turn. Even though he knows this is in our hand, I'm still going to hang on to it just in case he runs into another, oh, there's a Kaya's Wrath. What was that called? Oh, that's right, we exiled it. The Bellhaunt. I guess we'll play it now. He's just been able to answer all of our creatures so far, but we, like Dragon Lord said, we are just flooding out here. And now they've got their Search for Escanto flipped, so even though we're both in top deck mode, they're going to get a lot more value being able to pull something out of their deck every turn. We might be in a tough spot now. So they're going to get to cast this down if they want to. It is going to draw us a card. Okay, we got a Vampire Sovereign. We'll go ahead and play that. We got Elemental Ramp Package. Don't seem to have much trouble getting a 7 mana. Well, that's good. I haven't really tried that out, like I said. Okay, he's going to get rid of the Sovereign. That makes sense. Yeah, what does Agent of Treachery do? Gets like 2 instants or sorceries out of your graveyard. Or is Agent of Treachery the one that takes something of theirs? I don't remember. I know there's one that grabs 2 spells out of your graveyard and then one that like steals something of theirs. They're both really high costing creatures, like 7 and 9, I think. I'm just gonna dig with a Escanto again. Got it to Teferi this time, that's not good for us. Can't even attack into it without him draining us either. And we are still drawing more land. This is just ridiculous. Agent steals something and the Yarrick doubles it. Yeah, that seems pretty good. And then isn't that the one where if you control so many of their permanents at the end of your turn you win or something like that? The other one I'm talking about is the Scholar, yeah. Yeah, I got a special art style for the Scholar when we made it through the sealed event with 7 wins, but honestly I don't really think I'll use it. I wish they would have gave us something that was a little bit more of a staple card. Okay, so he's getting all the value off of Skanta. I think we're just going to get outvalued here with all these cards. He'll return Oathkaya back to his hand and then be able to play it to kill our Zealot. This is just going to be a long road to nowhere, so I'm just going to go ahead and concede this one. We'll jump into another one. We were just really unlucky to draw so many lands that game. Why is my play button blacked out? What's going on here? Oh, there we go. That was weird. Draw 3 at end of turn. If you control 3 or more permanents, you don't. Oh, okay, you draw 3. Yeah, I think the only alternate win condition in this set was that one where you have to have like 6 different casting costs or cards in your hand. You can reveal it or something like that. So we got 3 vampires of the Direman and an Aid the Fallen. We'll go ahead and try that. Looks like our opponent's mulliganing. Alejandro is our opponent this time. They're probably deciding what they want to put on the bottom of their deck with this new London mulligan. Down to 4. This might be a shorter game. Alright, so let's get one of these vampires down. So after dropping an island and a Storm Tamer, our opponent was down to 2 cards in hand. You would have shipped a hand? Well, I figure we got 3 creatures that we can put out early. They all have Death Touch and Lifelink, so it's not going to be a horrible start. Unless it was like last game where we just drew lands the rest of the game, I think we'd be okay. Let's see if we see a Merfolk Trickster here, maybe. Yep. Now I would have, if I was him, I would have waited until I attacked and then put it in and blocked. But it's okay with me, because he could have gotten rid of our vampire right there, and it also would have lost the Death Touch and Lifelink, so he would not have lost his Merfolk Trickster. I think that was a punt by our opponent there. Now we see a Tempest Djinn, 3/4 flyer. Let's say if he wants to swing with the Trickster, I'll just let it through. Not really worried about taking 2 at the moment. Alright, so we're gonna see if he wants to trade anything for these. Otherwise he's losing 3 and we're gaining 3. And it looks like that's what's happening. We'll go ahead and play our Dusk Legion Zealot. Draw another Swamp. And we'll go ahead and play it. Opponent draws another island, putting his Tempest Djinn up to 4 power. So he might swing with just that and the Storm Tamer. No, he's going to just swing out. Okay, I'm not going to block. Alright, so we'll just swing in here. $13 to $16. Maybe I should have left one Dire Move Vampire back to block this thing. We can always get it back with the Aid the Fallen, but... Okay, so now we can play our Champion of Dusk this turn, but I want to get rid of this Tempest Djinn. attack first? Do you think he's gonna block with this? I think I'm gonna attack first. Let's see if he blocks one of these Diamond Vampires with the Herald. Nope, he's gonna let it through. Alright. Oh, whoa, whoa, hold on. Alright, let's pay for it. Okay, cancel. We haven't played our land yet. So we'll do that and we'll just pay full price. Oh, but he's gonna be able to sacrifice his Storm Tamer, isn't he? Yeah, so he'll most likely do that, but we need to do this. I forgot about the Storm Tamer, or I would have left one of these back to block that Trickster. So we'll see, it's going to come in for possibly 5, 6, 7, 8 next turn. If he drops an island. Alright, so coming in for 7. Putting us down to 5. Draws another Herald. Alright, so we're going to gain 3, putting us back up to 8. We can't play this now or it's going to end up killing us. I really would have liked to have taken that out. 5, 7, he'll be able to kill us. Alright, so we have to attack with everything but the Zealot. I really think I should have left one of these back earlier to take out this Trickster. If we would have saved ourselves a little bit of damage, that probably would have been ideal. Maybe I even should have sacrificed the Zealot with Spark Harvest and then got it back and played it again. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this Blast Zone. Alright, so he's swinging in for 6. Gonna put us down to 2. It looks like he's maybe thinking about it. There we go. Now we're going to add 2 counters on the Blast Zone. Okay, let's see. So this costs 3 to do. We'll be left with 3 mana left. Unable to play the Bloodlord. If we do play the Bloodlord, we gain 6. Oh, if we play the Bloodlord, we just win, don't we? Because he's only going to be able to block 1. 6 is going to get through. Yep, that's what we're doing. Unless he's got another Trickster here. Something to that effect. Okay, so he's blocking the Zealot. I don't know why he wouldn't block one of the ones with Death Touch, but in Lifelink, get him off the board. But it looks like he's dead either way. Alright, so we are 1-1. And we'll go ahead and jump into another one here. See if my play button blacked out again. Okay, working fine this time. That was weird. The first game we got out of the play button was darkened out. I couldn't hit it. I had to go back to the home screen. Alright, so I think this is keepable. Go ahead and drop our Knight of the Ebon Legion. We've got a nice curve going here. We've got Dusk Legion on 2 and anything else on 3. So we'll swing first. It's gonna take it and we'll play the Zealot. Alright, so we drew another Zealot. Gonna Cry the Carnarium. It's gonna take up all their creatures. They're exiled. Alright, so I think this turn I just want to get down one of these aerialists. We could have played Sorin and then down tick to get two things on the board this turn, but that would have put him down to 1. Looks like our opponent's on chromatic black. Alright, so we play our Blast Zone. Make sure to tap the Blast Zone for mana to play this, otherwise if we just try to play Sorin without tapping our mana, it's going to tap all 3 of our black and leave only Blast Zone open. That really bothers me, it does it every time. I think they should change the programming on that. So we're going to give this thing lifelink and a counter, so when it hits it's going to get another counter, since whenever we gain life it gets a counter, so it'll put it up to a 4-5. And we'll still be able to play our Vampire of the Dire Moon. See what answers our opponent has here. Oh, I forgot to put the cat on black. Okay, he's going to contempt our Sorin. Gain himself a little bit of life back. Alright, we drew a Sovereign we're not able to play yet. I'm going to go ahead and get this aerialist down. So it's going to get a counter from the lifelink here. Alright, opponent's down to 13, we're up to 23. Yeah, it's pretty good. Now our opponent is searching for a card out of their library, possibly a sweeper to get rid of these creatures, or something else nasty. They had 1 mana left that they used to activate Treasure Map there. Alright, we got another Blast Zone. Might actually be worth it to put this on 3 just to get rid of their Lantern, but I think they're going to get to play whatever they want to before that happens. I don't really want to put a creature out this turn in case they do wipe the board, but let's see, that would put both of these up, so 6 plus 4 is 10, 11, and then we drain them. Okay, so we can actually kill them this turn, it looks like. This is going to drain 3, putting them down to 10, and then we have lethal. Good game, opponent. Alright, so we are 2-1 right now. We can get up to 3. On the 3rd loss, we're out. Tifa 247 is our opponent. I think we can keep this. It's the first time we've seen arterial flow so far. Once again, we have a nice curve, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so we'll drop our land. Swing in. Might see a shock here. And we do. And we'll play our Zealot. Drew another Zealot. We see a Steam Cannon from our opponent. Go ahead and do this now. Get some resources out of their hand, drain them a little bit. We got a Skewer the Critics and a Pyromancer. So that was at least 5 damage. We just saved ourselves, and we also drained our opponent for 2. We might see the steam can get a little bit bigger this turn. Nope, okay. Maybe he's got some that he's holding back. I think that we want to... Ooh, now we have the mana for Vraska's Contempt. So we're going to do that. I was tempted to play this Arterial Flow to get 2 more cards out of their hand, but we really want this Steamkin gone. He's going to shock our Zealot. That's fine. Anytime mono red is down to 2 cards and we're at 23 health, I'm okay with that. We are seeing a experimental frenzy now, which is not good for us, but here, I'm going to play this Sovereign. We're sure that they're going to have 2 cards in hand next turn because of this experimental frenzy, so I think I'm going to wait till next turn to drop down those 2. Okay, now we have a Bloodlord. Alright, so let's Arterial Flow. Drain them for 2, get rid of these 2 cards in case they ever do destroy that frenzy. We'll play our Zealot. And then get in the air for 3. Getting our opponent down to 9, we're at 26. They Lightning Strike our Sovereign, hoping to see more burn off the top, which they do in the way of shock, but we can get it back with Aid the Fallen and drain them some more. Looks like they pulled another land off the top with Frenzy. They're going to attack. I'm just going to go ahead and let it through. I'm actually more interested in attacking them with the Zealot. Okay, now we have the, we got Sorin. So we'll go ahead and play him. I'm going to plus. We could -3 to get the the Thirsting Bloodlord down, but that would make it easier for them to kill Sorin. We'd also be hitting, or we would not be gaining life this turn, and I want to do that. I think we'll wait to do that. Okay, Lava Runner. If they want to waste the resources that they're pulling off the top to kill Sorin, I'm fine with that. That's less coming at us. They are going to be able to kill Sorin, but I'm okay with that. We're just forcing them to waste resources. And now we're actually able to Aid the Fallen, get back Sorin and something else. So we'll get back a Sovereign and Sorin. We're going to go ahead, play Sorin. I'm going to plus to give this a counter. Again, I could get the Vampire Sovereign in this turn, but this way we're going to be able to most likely get in with this and gain 3 life. Unless they have a burn spell off the top to get rid of it right now, which it doesn't look like they do. So 28-4. And once again, if they want Sorin dead, they're going to have to waste all their resources this turn to do it, most likely. Okay, now he's leaving the Chain Whirler back to block this Zealot. Oh, maybe not. I think he might have a Spectacle card on top that he wants to play for cheaper, which is why he sent the Chain Whirler at us. You see it light up the stage, which gives him Runaway Steamkin and a shock. Let's see what he decides to do with it. Okay, so what we're going to do here, okay, this is what we do. Sacrifice a vampire, deal 3 damage to them, then we play the Sovereign and drain them for lethal. It's end of the battlefield trigger, there's nothing they can do about it. No, I didn't even consider putting Bowls of Citadel in there. Just keeping it all vampire synergy. We normally don't gain that much life in a game. These have been kind of odd games, but we're 3-1 right now. Jump into another one here. Our opponents have also made a couple of questionable decisions. I'm not sure that those were correct at all times, but I think it was capable. We'll get our Vampire of the Dire Moon down again. Next turn, unless we play a 2-drop, we'll be playing Memorial to Folly, and then the Airless turn 3. Okay, we did draw a 2-drop. So the correct move by the opponent here would probably be to block our Vampire, just to get this off the table, I would think. He's not even going to block it, he's just going to sacrifice to kill it. I think I actually want cards right now, so I'm going to play the Zealot. That will stop us from playing this unless we draw another Swamp, but we have the Vampire of the Dire Moon again next turn now. And we see a Steamkin. Alright, so let's go ahead and swing. He lets it through. I was kind of expecting that. Let's play the Zealot first. See if we draw a Swamp. If so, we could have played the Dire Moon Vampire, but we drew another Memorial of Folly, so we'll play that. Opponent's gonna shock us, get us down to 16. Plays Light Up the Stage. Steamkin's now up to 3 power, 2 counters. And a get to Lava Runner. So now he's going to be able to remove these if he wants and play some more spells. I am going to block this thing, so if he does want to remove them, it's going to end up dying. If he chooses to remove them this turn, which he doesn't. Okay, so we drop Memorial to Folly, so we'll have Vraska's Contempt next turn. And I think we drop... I guess we drop the Aerialist. We're planning on gaining life next turn. He might just kill it with Lightning Strike, but... Once again, if he's killing our creatures, he's wasting resources he could be sending at us. I'm going to leave the Zealot back as a blocker if possible. Okay, he does remove the counters now. He has a possible 6 mana. Lightning Strikes the Aerialist. We'll probably see this Pyromancer come down. That leaves him with 2 more mana. And 2 counters on the Steamkin. Alright, so now he's back up to 3 counters. Got 2 Pyromancers down. I'm not gonna lie, this is gonna be a tough one to win. Opponent is getting a lot of value over there. Okay, so we could play Sorin, play a Vampire, and activate Sorin. Or we can Vraska's Contempt this Steamkin. That would put us up to 10, and then we're taking 6. But we have to get rid of this thing, right? I think that's the play. I don't like it, but... he's going to remove the counters to get the mana. He might have an instant in his hand. He's going to Lightning Strike us. So we go back to 7, and if he has any burn at all, we're going to die next turn. He's getting in for at least 6. Let's see if he has that 1 more damage in his hand. Drops a mountain. And experimental frenzy. Alright, so we got one more turn. 3, 4, 5. Okay, so if we kill something, gain 3 life, that'll put us up to 4. I guess that's what we gotta do. I think we're probably still dead this turn, but... And there we go. Alright, so we are 3-2 now, I believe. Yep. Alright, one more loss and we'll be out. But let's, okay, so right now we're getting 400 gold and 3 cards. It costs us 500 to enter. If we do win one more, we'll be even on the gold and gaining 3 cards. You can see it goes up from there. But we got one more chance here. Yeah, that was a rough one, but that's mono red. If mono red gets the right draw, it's hard to stop. Captain Harder is our opponent. Interesting name. Alright, Dragon Lord, thanks for stopping by. I'm sure I'll talk to you later. Okay, I think we can try this. Not quite as smooth of a curve as before. We don't have a 1-drop, but our opponent mulliganed. See a gate here. We might be having a gate deck. Oh, maybe not. Boros. We might be a feather deck as a 10th District Legionnaire coming in. We'll go ahead and play a Dusk Legion Zealot. This might be another hard match for us to win if they are on a feather deck and have a few of the right pieces. I think we just no block this. Alright, so could play the Bloodletter or we can Arterial Flow. I think I'm actually going to wait one more turn to Arterial Flow. If they get a couple more cards out of their hand, then we can possibly force them to get rid of some cards they really don't want to get rid of. Now we see Feather come down. That means he's not going to be attacking with that. Alright, so let's play our Arterial Flow. Okay, we got rid of another Feather and Aurelia, which we were probably going to see next turn if they have another land. Fortunately, we can't attack into this Feather, so we'll just pass. Oh, Gird for Battle. So this thing's going to get 2 counters. Since it gets a counter anytime they target it, Feather will get a counter. Excuse me. Okay, they still got 2 mana left. I don't know what's in their hand. We take an 8 here if we don't block. This might be really bad, but I'm actually going to try to get rid of this Legionnaire. I might just get blown out here. Yep. Okay, so I was kind of expecting something like that to happen, but I think we lost this matchup from the start. There just isn't really much we can do to get... This is just like so much so fast that there's not really a whole lot we can do. We can play this Vampire Sovereign. It would have been helpful if we had a couple removal spells, then we would have had a chance if we were able to hit them when they were tapped out and they didn't have God's Willing to prevent us from killing it. Like, when they played Feather, they were tapped out. If we could have gotten rid of Feather that turn with a removal spell, we would have been a lot better off. As it is, there's not really too much we can do. I mean, I could block this, but... They get back their Gird for Battle from Feather. So, really good value. We can get a couple cards out of their hand, or we could play this Thirsting Bloodlord. I honestly don't really think it matters either way, but let's see if they have what is it, Reckless Rage in their hand to kill our Sovereign before this resolves. Looks like they don't. Alright, so we'll just play our Memorial. And I think we're dead next turn. Because he just gives the Legionnaire protection from black, and it'll definitely be able to get through. So, yeah. If he didn't have the God's Willing, we could block it and save ourselves one more turn, but protection is good, people. You know, a lot of you newer players probably aren't familiar with it because it's a mechanic that hasn't been around in a long time, but protection is very good. You see, he okay, he plays the one to get counters first. And he should be God's Willing on the Legionnaire before blocks, which it doesn't look like he did. Okay. Yeah, he could have killed us that turn. He just had the God's Willing, the Legionnaire before blocks, and we would not have been able to block it. As it is, we're still dead, but... So 1, 2, 3... That doesn't really matter. We'll get back this, gain a life, but... So that is the deck. Let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. Remember, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit the bell for notifications. And let me know what you think about everything down in the comments there. What would you have done? How would you play the deck differently or build the deck differently? Let's see what cards we got from our rewards here. Alright, 400 gold, so it cost us 100 gold for the event, but we did get a Sacred Foundry. That's nice, that's worth the gold right there. A 4-drop Chandra from the M20 set, and an Evolution Sage. So, that's the event for you. I've been Marcus for Tier 1 Jank, and until next time, remember, opt for greatness.